Greetings and welcome. I'm Dr. Nielsen, founder of Nielsen Holistic. Glad to have you along here. Going to be talking about the human genome, DNA, genetics. We're moving into the information era. We're here. We're no longer in the industrial era, and we're here in the information age. So let's look at trends that are happening with genetic testing. We also, on this video, I'm going to be training on what did we do before we ever had genetic testing? What is it that we actually did? Did we, get a good health history and then to be able to use that family history? How did we do it back in the day when we didn't have genetic testing? Because a lot of us still haven't had genetic testing done. So I will be talking about a company called 23andme. 23andme was started by Anna Wojcik, and I'm probably saying her name wrong. Wife of Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google. Now, what is Google all about? So let's look at trends here, good and bad, right off the bat of 23andme. 23andme is a company that tests your they do genetic testing. Back in 2013, so 2013, they were actually looking at health-related genetic testing. Then the FDA got involved and said, hey, people could get false positives. Some lady might get something, or a man might get a false positive that they are predisposed to a certain type of cancer, and so they go and have a double mastectomy, or they go and get their prostate removed, when in reality, had they changed some things, they actually would have been fine. So the FDA said, all right, that portion of your testing, it's not approved, the health portion, but you can continue to do your ancestral type testing. So the trend is, let's look at trends here. So people, what is the trend? People want to know, they did and they still do, they want to know where they're from. Number one, people want to know ancestral-wise. That's why some of the biggest websites in the world are related to your family history. They want to know where they've come from. It's very intriguing to them, and they want to find out who are their ancestors. Was I related to George Washington? Was I related to King George? Was I related to somebody out in Mongolia? Or out in Spain, or wherever. Where did my ancestors come? So that part of the company, 23andme, they're actually still testing, genetic testing for family history, ancestral type history. The part the FDA didn't approve was the actual health history, where they're actually being able to test and see if you might be predisposed to certain conditions. Now, kind of good and bad. The FDA says, hey, we want to protect people, like I was saying, but at the same time, again, the trend is information. People want information. The other trend is this. People want to know what is going on with their health before something chaotic, something crisis type happens. That's a pretty cool trend to be happening, because it tells me as Dr. Nielsen that no longer people are just taking a doctor's advice. They actually want to know for themselves. They're taking that information and they're owning it. And then they're being able to say, you know what, this is how it is, I need a change. No, I'm not going to go and have a drastic surgery. Consult with your physician first, of course, and you can decide what you need to do. Generally, if you catch it soon enough, you can actually make changes to be able to change the genome that's going to actually affect the genetic expression of your DNA. So that's pretty cool. Now, another trend is this. And this is where some people might say, okay, this is kind of interesting. So who is the co-founder of Google, Sergey Brin? What is he all about? So in the beginning, Google says, we just want some of your information, but it's always going to be protected. Well, let me ask you this. Is your information protected with Google? You'll have to decide for yourself. We're in the information age, folks. We're in the information age, and so what is 23andme's their bigger picture here? Well, of course, they want information. By collecting massive amounts of information, they're able to say then, hey, this information is saying that this gene truly does express cancer. It does express allergens to this type of food. It does do this and this. Now, for me, I think that's great. But consequently, some people are concerned that they're going to have your information. Well, they will have their information, and they say they won't use it, but generally what happens is down the road, they will work around those clauses, just like Google has done, and those commitments, and then they're able to give your information to third parties, or you can actually sell that information. Now, The other danger with having your genetic information is if other people do get that test saying that, hey, you're predisposed to cancer, you might very well be denied for certain insurances, life insurances, health insurances, possibly even getting into certain jobs and careers. So I'm kind of looking at both angles here of 23andMe and the company, 23andMe the company. Now, kind of some cool news though, is just within like the past 7 days, within the past week, they're actually announced once again that they put together a team, and they're actually going to start working on getting the health portion of the genetic testing back. So not just the ancestral testing, but actually once again the health genetic testing, and they're looking to go outside of the US, possibly Canada or Australia, to start doing that testing. They would like to see that up and running once again by the end of the year, but they're not quite sure. It could take many years. So again, trends here. What are the trends? Trends are people do want to know their family history. They do want to know where they came from. And we have that inward desire, that innate desire to say, you know, who am I from? Am I from some losers, or am I from some winners? Am I from some amazing heroes? Let me tell you this. All of us are from heroes. Because, you know, I call him God, Heavenly Father, and that's where I come from. And so he's my father. He's a hero. But all of us have heroes in our lineage. It depends on what you decide to be. You're going to be the hero or the loser. So all of us in our genetic expression have a hero. Think about it. You were conceived, you won. I mean, you made it. You survived. It's you. You're a hero. All right? So be the hero. Trend number 2 is that people are looking to actually have health. They're actually looking to get health from within, and not just going to a doctor taking a prescription. People actually want to know, what can I do to prevent? So we're starting to shift the paradigm and saying, yeah, I want to know my genetic expression so I can say, you know what, I want to be able to change. I want to be able to say, hey, sure enough, I'm going to have something wrong with me. Why don't I go to my doctor and say, hey, what can I do about this? Well, let's change about 5 things: your positive mental attitude, your healthy eating habits and living styles, your exercise, right? Your social habits, and being loved and loving people, right? They did a study that showed that there's these people, they were beating all the odds. They were eating things that weren't that great. They were living a lifestyle that wasn't that super healthy. They weren't exercising that much, yet they beat the odds of having heart disease and the major cancers and all these different diseases. And that what they gave the biggest factor was their social integration. Not their social media, but their social connectivity. They were socially connected. Neighbors. They were loved, and they gave love. They gave out love, and they were loved. They felt a part of a community. So who's your neighbor? Sounds like Mr. Rogers, right? Who's your neighbor? Who's your community? And who are you able to love, express your love and give out love, but be able to have that love returned to you? So again, that trend. And then a trend, of course, is the information trend of a grand company doing some great things, but also at the same time looking to take your information and use it. To be able to see, yes, change and find out what genes are expressing what, but also to own your information. Just like out on the internet, not just Google, many others, but our information is owned. That's why there's such a problem with identity theft. So those are some of the trends that we're looking at with 23andMe, and just wanted to make you aware of those type of things. Remember this: